Okay, so we're out here working, and this is where the shed's going to go, at least part of it. And I've been using the leaf blower out here regularly, get the leaves out the way, just kind of getting stuff pushed back. We clear the area. There was, if you were here yesterday, there was a bunch of pallets over here with stuff on it. A bunch of stuff got left out. I'd hired some people to work for me, and they put the stuff outside that should have been inside, and the stuff inside that could have been outside. A lot of stuff got ruined. So, like this was my dad's. I don't know if you can see this. This was my dad's, and it's just completely ruined. Yeah, he was real proud of it. He always liked it. He thought it was real cool. His little pyramid prism thing. So I'm going to take the pieces of it and make like a collage with it or something. Just it was my dad's. But what we've got today, I'm just going to be moving some stuff around. There's a few pieces of glass here I found I need to clean up. I've got these cinder blocks in the way. And what I want to do is just go ahead and take these and set them back over here. This is about where one of the posts is going to be. There'll be another one 8 feet over there, another one 8 feet there, and then 16 feet there to be mirrored. These will be 8 foot posts on this side, and they're going to be buried down about a foot and a half, foot and a half, somewhere in there deep. And then these will be 10 foot poles, and they'll be buried about the same. So I'm going to dig with the auger down to about 24 inches, which is the frost of that here is 18, 24 inches, somewhere in there. I've heard both, depending on who you ask. And I've been going to like 28 inches on a lot of stuff, and then putting gravel in, 4 inches of gravel, and then putting 4 inches of concrete and stuff like that. And people are like, dude, that's way overkill out here. You don't need to do all that. It doesn't get that. It just doesn't freeze that much. It's not going to. But this is real heavy clay soil. A lot of what I like to do is just go down until I hit rocks. When I hit rocks that are the size of my fist, I call it good. The auger doesn't take them out. They're terrible to move, and what's under that is rock. So about until I hit, I wouldn't say bedrock. This is a karst, or well, I wouldn't really say it's a karst area. There's a lot of flint, a lot of feldspar, um, and so it's lime, and you get a lot of chert is what's in it. It's a feldspar, and it's chump rock. It's you can't do anything with it. You can't put it in concrete because chemically it doesn't bond to concrete that well. So it's not. Some of it's limestone, and then pieces of it aren't. Some of it's really beautiful, real gorgeous colors on it. I've cracked some of it open. It looks like agate almost. It's beautiful. So it just depends on what you run into. Some of it's worth decorating with maybe. I don't have my rock saws set up right now, but that is a plan. So I'm going to move some of these cinder blocks here, and my goal is to just come back over here, back a little ways, and set them here in a line to help kind of keep this pushed back up out the way. So we're going to start with this one here. It's got a nice ground lock on it. It's in there pretty good. And we're just going to start making a row here with these blocks that are laying around everywhere. And then I can come back through and clear again. Like I said, there's pretty good ground lock on some of these. Set it back over here. And that's all we're doing. We're just kind of making this back this way. So I get in here with strings and stakes. I found some good stuff in here. It wasn't all ruined. There was a really nice quartz crystal cluster that was my dad's. It was in a box over here. I was able to pull that. And hey, what do you know? There's a combo wrench, right? Combination wrench. So, I saved some of it out of here. The more of it I clean up, the better it'll get. And I'm finding stuff in here, but it's just, kind of a tragedy. It's kind of sad that, all this stuff got ruined. And again, it's as much on me as it is anybody. One, I didn't get out here and get to this as quickly as I could have. I could have come out here more quickly and gotten to it. Two, maybe I should have paid the guys better or hired people that were a little more competent. I think maybe hiring people that were a little more competent is the one. You got to do what you got to do. If you only got a few bucks, you got to hire who you can hire. And there's the hidden cost. It costs you one way or another. It cost me on this end all this stuff that got ruined versus at the front, if I'd had a little more cash to pay, I could have kept this stuff nicer. So we are going to do some light leveling over here. I don't have a tractor, but that auger, I'll show you some tricks with that auger. If you're not digging deep, you just kind of pop it along, and you just go about that deep with it, zip, 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 and it breaks up the dirt. And then you can rake and level, and that's helpful at times. So I'm not going to be able to respond to chat, so I appreciate you saying things. It's just me out here. I'm working. I'm sharing this with you. You can kind of follow the process and kind of see just what it takes to do some of this stuff, how difficult it is, how much time it takes, and some of the steps involved. But I've cleared back over here a little more, that leaf blower, the rake. I'll continue to go through and pull things out of here and get it ready. It's a very simple structure. That's the idea. If you can, that this structure can be modified to be made into a shelter. It's not that different from the house I stay in. So, you know, your mileage is going to vary, your building codes are going to matter where you're at. I am very lucky there are no building codes on this lot. My county has no adopted building codes. And if you're on the electrical grid, your grandfather did. You're included by reference into the National Residential Code for a residence. For any other structure, it's the International Building Code. And because I'm not connected to the grid, the only building regulation I have is the location of my septic. And it has to be so far back from a property line and so far from a house kind of thing. That's it. And it's way over there back in the woods. So we're good there. That was it. That's the only one I've got. I have neighbors, my two neighbors to the north. Neither of them has an approved septic. One of them is using bucket latrines. They have like all these 5-gallon buckets that are filled up with human manure waste, and sawdust that they put in there, or cedar shavings or something, and they just let it collect. They've got 50 buckets or something over there, ridiculous. They just keep storing it and never do anything with it. And then my other neighbor, I think they've just got a pit latrine. They dug a hole and have just a basic pit, so they move every so often. Neither of which are approved here. I got some other neighbors over that way. They've got a well and a regular house. They're on grid. They're about a eighth of a mile down the road, 800 feet or 800 feet or something. And they have power. I don't think they've ever tested their water for lead. So, you know, on this 100-year-old farmhouse, they've never tested the plumbing on it for lead. There's other people out here that are in similar situations. Some of them have septics, some of them don't. Some of them are bootlegged. So it just really kind of depends on what you're after. Your mileage may vary. But since that was, and I do care about it a little bit, but since that was the only code I had to follow, I went ahead and made sure that I did go to my septic and kept it set back. Other than that, I'm kind of free to do whatever I want. Now, common sense needs to prevail. I don't want to build a structure that's going to fall down, right? But people are telling me this 28-inch deep with gravel and concrete and this is just more than I need. So on this one, I'm probably going to hit 18 to 24 inches, throw some concrete in the bottom, and stick the post in and call it good. It really is just a shed. It's not that big a deal. And there's a slight rise over here. I've got maybe 6 inches of rise in ground that goes over this way, and it's like a foot lower over there. So back here in the trees, it's not much. I'll dig a French drain, a trench in here at some point that comes down. It's part of what these blocks will do is I'll come in behind both of these sheds and dig a drain. I'd like to eventually put a root cellar back over here and have it go down some stairs and drain to daylight so that you can go, right, so at the bottom of the stairs to go in the root cellar. And that one, the plan is to go down 4 feet and put the dirt from it on either side to mound it up a couple of feet on either side higher, and then build a dome, a vault over it, like an arched vault. And that'll give me a root cellar. I'll cover it with moss, you know, just cement dome, ferro cement, something like that, and call it good, right? It's just to have. It would be nice to kind of have at least something in terms of, you know, in terms of having a cooler space to put some things. That would be nice. And there's some tricks to that I'll get into, but that's not a this year problem. That's like next year or the year after. I'd like to have that at some point eventually. These stones up here. And this alone, like, will help keep some of the moisture out. I mean, it'll run between these, but as dirt pulls on it, it'll direct it. So as the leaves pile up, keep some of that in there. So. Now, I really kind of lucked out on this place in some ways. In others, I really considered going to Colorado. But this is literally one of the last places on Earth, at least in this country, that has no building codes. There's none adopted here. And because I'm building all this now, it's grandfathered in. It'll stay that way. You have quite a few Amish and Mennonite in the area, and they really don't want it. They don't want building codes out here themselves. So, you know, that helps a little bit. This exercise bike here, and I use it sometimes for exercise, but the reason I got it was to take the back part off and hook it up to a generator so I could pedal to make extra electricity as needed. So I may do that at some point and have that set up so that I've got a generator. For the moment, I'm going to try and get it out of the way somewhere, and that is a real good question where that's going to be. Over here for now, I guess. I just don't want to be banging into it while I move around. The cloud cover coming in is nice. And yeah, most of this, I'll just use a leaf blower and a rake and push it over to the side for now. I don't know where half of this is going to go. Part of it's a little overwhelming. Like, where's all this stuff going to go? You know, what am I going to do with it? And I've got stuff all over the yard. Some of it's just ruined from sitting outside. I didn't have anywhere to put it. There was nowhere inside to put it. I could have piled it up inside and been so cramped in I couldn't move that I had to climb over my stuff to get to bed. That's not, you know, right? So, not good. It's not healthy. So, I got stuff that got rid of. And it is frustrating. Don't get me wrong. It's frustrating. But, you know, it's kind of a spilt milk situation. What can you do? I could complain about it, be upset, or I could make changes and continue to do something. So, for that, the trash, as much as it's trash. So. This is a plaster frog bat. Name was Copper. It's a frog with bat wings I made. I had a mold for these. I used to have a statue company a long time ago. And until I made extra money as an undergrad when I lived in the city, I bought all these molds and put plaster and hydrostone and cement in them and made statues for people. I do a skull in any color. Any color of spray paint you want, I do a skull. And so you could do these. I did a gold skull. I did a candy apple red skull. I gave it to one of my teachers because it was candy apple red. Somebody had me do a hot pink skull for him, so I had to go get fluorescent. I think this might have been the color I used. This may have been it. Yeah, this was the can I used. I did a skull in this color. I've still got the leftover can, this fluorescent road marking paint, and I did a skull this color and, you know, sold it for 20 bucks. Somebody wanted the color. So, I had to charge them a little extra. I think it was 10 is what I did most of it. Or it was 20, you know, they made this fancy colors. $7 can of paint or whatever. So stuff like that. I had all kinds of fun with that. But dragons and skulls and gargoyles and stuff, you know, that's what I made. Indoor, outdoor stuff, and then sold them at like flea markets and art shows and things like that, craft fairs, things like that. And then I had a housekeeper. I used the money to pay for my housekeeper, which is probably why it's so messy. I need to pay another housekeeper. And what I would do is they would just take a bunch of them, put them in the back of their car, and sell them out of their trunk. And it was like, hey, here's these. You can make whatever you make on them. A bunch of extra money, right? I'd pay them and I'd give those to go sell for extra. I think officially it was go sell these and give me half, and then I just let them keep the money to pay them, kind of thing. So, all right, I'm gonna go grab my tape measure right quick. We're gonna measure this, get an idea where we're at. But somewhere over there is where I want to put. I've got this come along here, just to pull things out of the way. This will help it level in a little bit. Have this come along. I've got a rock rake over there as well. But, I can break it up with this and a rake and then use the leaf blower to get it out of here. But this is about where I'm wanting to put the first hole for the post, is about right there. I'm going to do a couple of quick measurements. And what I'm going to do for the first two is just measure directly off of this in a straight line and then measure between them. If it's not 100% perfect, it's okay. Shed doesn't have to be, I could do the triangle thing and try and get, I'll probably do that, make sure my diagonals off my corners are close. But this is where the post is going, it's a hole. It's not, and then when I line up the posts, I'll do diagonals. I'll make sure that I've got a square here, to be a square, of about 7.5 feet-ish, maybe 8. I'll probably go 8. It'll be 8 to the edges, give or take. So 7, 7, 7 or something on edge, 7, 5 on center-ish. But I'll cross that. I'll use my Pythagorean. So we'll do that. Square root of 120-ish will give us a pretty good estimate here on where to make sure. And it really, as long as your diagonals are the same, you're good. So I'll measure these 8 feet apart here. I'll go ahead and go 8 feet. For the outside of my post, I'll dig my holes, right? The center of them will be 8 feet apart. That way it'll fit in there just right. And I'll widen them out with the auger. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then I'll go 8 feet this way, and I'll make this very square. This will be a very square section here. And then I'll make another section over here. I'll make 2 more holes over there that are squared with these 2. And I'll use a string. I'll show you some tricks with a string here to make sure this is all lined up. I might dig out some stakes to use for it. It's kind of overkill. Depends on if I go to the hardware store. I got to go to the hardware store Monday. I've got something to do in the city. So I may go ahead and buy my materials on Monday for this. But yeah, let me grab my tape measure here and the auger, and we'll do a couple of little test holes, some pilot holes. Actually, I think I am going to go ahead and do that, is do a pilot hole and see how that's going to work. Yeah, so I picked up this auger for 50 bucks, not running. It needed a $1 fuel line to fix. That was it, $1. So $51 plus the gas fuel, get it, call it 75 bucks for a $300 auger. Now it has an 8-inch bit. I want a little bit bigger than that, but this is 2 feet. This is 32 inches. This is 30. I'm gonna mark my 30 here. That's real close to where this corner is right there. It's like a little spot where that cinder block was, I can see. And that's where I want to put my auger at. So we're just going to do a test hole here. It's about where I want this post, give or take, actually, you know, kind of centered here. Start on prime. Come back in right here on the edge of that hole. Now I'm going to come back about where they join and make one more. With those three holes, I've now made a space the way I did it. I should have at least 12 to 16 inches across. Okay? And it's, by wiggling it around like I did, it's fairly round. And I should just have to, yeah, I got a 12-inch hole there, 13. Dig the dirt out. So that's how you do that. You dig one hole. So you're gonna go ahead and get you one hole, and it comes, so you're barely on that other one, and you're gonna put a third one, like kind of where they meet, and that'll give you, right, a compound hole. And it's a little hard to get that to stay on top when you're digging. If you're doing a bigger hole, so I'm doing a 4x4 post, so I don't want a real big hole. You want about 3 times the size of your pole. So a 4x4, you want a foot. For a 5x5, you want like 16 inches. And for a 6x6, you want at least 18 inches to 2 feet. And the reason for this is so it doesn't crack out in the wind and split out. So let me grab a little shovel there to pull that dirt out, and I'll get some depth. So I'm not sure where there's a shovel at. And at this point, it's, you know, hit or miss on if it do any good. This is a hoe. Just kind of use it like this. At a certain point, that's futile. So you can just use these postal diggers to dig a hole. It's a lot of work. They're still real handy for getting dirt out of the hole that's already been broken up with the auger. They can help you widen the hole or clean up your sides or whatever. But for transferring dirt, for getting dirt out of a hole, I don't know a lot of stuff that's better. The auger, to a point. And I got these little roots here, you know, sumac roots or something. Shallow root system here. Now they tell you to bell it out at the bottom. And if you're not going to get in there with a little, you know, hand trowel or something, you can. So I got about a foot here depth. Get down, I got that dirt out the way, but I'm down to a foot. So grab the auger, turn it back on. Get a little further. Uh-oh. One of these. Well, that might be it for today. Yep. Okay, hold on. Mighty flooded. real good rock. Now I'm going to have to get this and take this apart with a screwdriver and reset that rewind screen, the spring in there, because I don't want to doing that. It's catching rocks and pulling out. It's too much to handle. So that's okay. I just want to get a pilot hole done today. Be careful to get away from you. But I'm hitting rocks down in here real good. And you can see I've hit depth pretty good. I'm not worried about making this, you know, the greatest thing ever. I got people that would have stopped at that first hole there and called it good. The other one would be to get a couple of brackets. And I thought about this, was to get me some brackets, the little post-based brackets, and put a bolt down in here and some concrete and set those level to a string and just set the post in there. And that may be the way to go. We'll see. I'm hitting a layer of rock in here, and that's why I wasn't going any further. There's rather large rock. And that means I just don't need to go any deeper. I really don't. As where you get to this, there's a rock off to the side. I might need to move it a little bit. So get that dirt out that hole. You don't say deep enough. I got 16 inches, I might call it good. Oh, I'm at 18 easy. So that's about as deep as I wanted to go. I might go a little deeper. I'm a little worried about that auger. It was cheap, it was used. I know I'd run into problems. It's running okay. I'm gonna need to reset that coil spring in there, that winding spring. So I gotta take that off of there and fiddle with it, reset it. It should work again. We'll see how it goes. Try and get this to reset here. But it's pulled out to the point it doesn't want to line back up. So you can give it a wrap. I don't want to beat this cover up either too much. Sometimes a little engineer's tap, mechanic's touch, a sturdy whack will get that to reset, to pop loose because it's just caught on something. But it's working okay. I paid, I didn't pay much for it. And fixing that'll cost me another $6 or $8 at most, maybe 10. So I'm good for the day. I just want to kind of get going on this and clear this out some more and do a little bit on it. I'm getting sweaty. It's hot out. It's the hot part of the day. So, but we'll set that to there, and then we'll come over from about the middle of that hole to 8 feet, which gets me about right here. I actually could go a little bit further back, and I may do that. I may go ahead and take the auger again and widen my hole back 6 inches this way. I think I will. Maybe, yeah, I think I will go ahead and get this. That comes back another 6 inches, which is easier to do now that you've got a hole. It's always easier to make a hole bigger than to make a hole. It just is. If you wanted me to explain it, it has to do with the dirt on the sides keeping the dirt in. And this might let me get that rock out of the way that was in my way over here. But I'm hitting 16 to 18 inches down, and I'm immediately hitting big, giant, heavy rocks. So I don't need, that's what they're saying, I don't really need to go deeper than that. That's local vernacular, local wisdom. the way they build out here. They've been building this way for a long time. So, I mean, I got a neighbor over here. They built their house with railroad ties buried 4 feet deep. So, your mileage may vary. This is not the Taj Mahal. This is not a monument to my children's beauty and longevity or some demonstration of my wealth. It's a shed. So getting it done is as important as making it nice. That said, I don't want it to suck either. I don't want it to fall apart in 2 years. Oh, I got that big rock. Trying to hold on to that string out of my way, and now it's getting away from me. So I'll call it good. I'll get that fixed. Get back that hook on it again. I got plenty I can do out here that needs done. And if need be, I can use these to dig with. I've done them. These are the sharpshooters. So my phone is beeping at me there. So I think that may be an alarm of some kind. I'm going to go ahead and go on in and call it good. It's wonderful to see you, YouTube. Someone's very rude there and will be banned from my channel. They're gone. How bizarre. So just like I said, some basics there on get some stuff done. Oh yeah, and we're well below 16 inches there, a good 18 to the bottom, and we've got about 12 inches across. So we're good. That's plenty for what I'm trying to do out here. So we will be doing more later. It's good to see you. Take care.